What's going on, and welcome back to another gear review. And in this video we're going to be going over the TAG Combat Sustainment Pack and Military Day Pack with extra storage. Now this guy is going to cost you roughly around $250. There are a couple of different colors and camo patterns out there, and I highly recommend it. This is actually a buddy of mine. He lent it to me to do the review. I've been wanting to purchase one of these for a really long time, but it's always kind of been on the back burner because of all the other gear that I've been purchasing. So hopefully here soon I will own my own. But this is actually one of the few pieces of equipment that I have seen from the very beginning of my military career all the way up and through SOF. And I predominantly saw this used in the infantry. I feel like this is a very advantageous piece of equipment for dudes that are in the infantry or dudes that are patrolling, utilizing vehicles. They need a small sustainment pack to be able to carry a little bit of extra mission essential equipment, or equipment that they may just want to have inside of their vehicle for movement, and then be able to resupply themselves in the event that they take contact and they're moving with vehicles. So highly recommend it when it comes down to it. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I was trying to make this a less than 5-minute gear review, but there's just way too much information and good things and food for thought that I want you guys to see how this was utilized in the past to help you determine whether or not you want to purchase this for yourself and help you set up your kit and equipment to be very beneficial and enabling when it comes down to it. So with that, I'm going to dive right into it so that way you can see what's going on, how this thing is set up, and what it has to offer to help you make that determination. So first off, you do have a pretty large primary compartment up top here, and this is going to go or run the whole entire length of the bag. As you can see, you can run hydration in here, you can run radios, you can run mission essential equipment. There is a lot that you can throw inside of this. I've seen a couple of guys actually utilize this as a 117 Golf, I believe, the small 117 radio. They'll throw this inside of there and be able to run that radio inside of this guy, and then run their antennas through the top. And then when it came to the zippers, or how they were running the antenna, I want to say they either ran it through the little hydration hose cutout, or they used a carabiner to hold these zippers together, and then the antenna just came out the top. That, or they made a small little cut to be able to run the antenna. So you have some options when it comes to the setup of the interior, and there is a lot of different equipment that you can throw in here, and I've seen throw in here. I've seen guys pulling information and data and equipment off of missions and objectives to where they were throwing stuff in here as well, or they had bags that they would stuff inside of here and then run and use this, or use this bag for that job and position. And then last but not least, you do have your little retention tab or hanging tab for your hydration. Whether you want to run the half or the full size Camelback and hydration bladders, I've seen guys run both. When it came to the half size one, they would kind of hang it inside of here, and then they had other equipment below that. Just make sure if you do that, you don't have any equipment that could be damaged by that hydration bladder breaking open and that water leaking everywhere. So with that, you do also have your drawstring little clamps on the interior of this to be able to lengthen and shorten the retention bungees for your magazines. So that's on the interior. When it comes to the exterior, you do have 3 smaller compartments, and then you have your 3 triple mag panel up top here, plus a small little pouch for small items like multi-tools, flashlights, and you can actually even fit a small Enola Gay smoke burst grenade inside of there. So you can run smoke in there as well as flashbangs. So you have a couple of different options. When it comes to the mag pouches, you can run, like I said, 3 M4 magazines inside of here. I actually do know one guy that cut the little dividers out of here, and he actually ran smoke inside of it. I was a squad leader, so he needed that for that aspect and that capability, but it was an option and a way that you can kind of tailor and set this up to be specific to your job title. If I were to say any recommendations when it came to like that piece, if those could be kind of velcroed in, so that way you can kind of shift those around and be able to set this up specific to mission sets, that would be cool. But just kind of a food for thought thing. Covered the little small pouch there for multi-tool, smoke, flashbangs, and all of that. And then your 3 small compartments I've seen used for a lot of different things. I've seen it used for lickies and chewies. I've seen it used for flashbangs and smoke, extra magazines, and I've even seen it used as an AG or small AG bags So you do have a lot of different options when it comes to the three different, or I shouldn't say different, the three little compartments that you have on the exterior. So when it came to the AG gunner that I knew, his go-to belt was in this middle one just because it was side open, so he could drop this right next to the gunner and then connect those links into the 240 gunner's belt that was already on the gun, and then keep that gun in the fight, and then he would pull ammo from these two other pouches. You could fit roughly around 75 to 100 rounds in there. It can get real tight once you start adding and getting close to that 100 round mark, but it was an option. The RTO that I knew that was running this with a 117, he utilized some of these pouches on the exterior for lookies and chewies, extra batteries for both the 117 and for the kind of handheld, or the 148s and the 152 radios for the guys on the platoon or in the platoon. So he was carrying a lot of extra components to include additional push-a-talks as well as body whips and antennas that may be needed in the event any of that equipment were to break on mission. So you have some options when it comes to setting this guy up and setting this up for multiple missions and positions. So when it comes to the back side of this, you do have a few options. You do have the shoulder straps. These will detach from the system up at the top and at the bottom, so you can pull those completely off if you don't want to run this as just kind of a small sustainment or mission pack. And then you do have the molly. One cool thing with the molly, and actually one way that I saw this utilized on deployment, was there was a squad leader. He had two of these. He set up one on either side of his molly ruck, and then he took the shoulder straps and just threw them inside of the bottom pouch on the exterior of this guy, and put his clothes and equipment and everything that he needed for the deployment inside of this guy on his ruck. And it just kind of helped keep his profile a little bit smaller when it came to everything that he was taking out to deployment with him. And then he would take these guys off of the pack or his rucksack after he got in country, and then he would set these up so that way the dudes in his teams and squads and platoon could utilize this pack as just a small sustainment pack for whatever missions that we were all going on. So really cool thing when it comes to just kind of thinking outside of the box and how you can kind of keep a small profile but maximize what you're utilizing and how you're setting up that profile, so that way you're getting the most out of everything that you are taking with you. So really good way to just kind of think out of the box, in my opinion. So, and you're not utilizing some of those not as great pouches on your ruck. So, with that, I think that really comes down to everything that I've seen this for. I've seen it used for commo. I've seen it used for an AG. I've seen it used for just sustainment and mission stuff. You absolutely could set this up for medical. You could set up different types of specific trauma injuries inside of these pouches and set that up so that way you have the ability to treat and aid any injured or wounded guys on the battlefield, or like in law enforcement if a guy gets hurt. You can absolutely utilize this as a med kit as well, and then still have extra ammo and things up top. Or hey, you could even pull these bungees off and then have like small little micro med kits up top that you can just pull out and throw to a dude for self-aid. So a lot of options when it comes down to it. One thing that I do think should be taken into consideration, if you're comparing some of the other products that are out on the market, like the Sotec Go Bag, as well as the 511 4-banger pouch, I believe is what it's called. This is something that is very competitive with those systems, because not only can you set this up in a backpack configuration, you can molly this into seat back panels, you can molly it into other packs, and you can even go as far as even tying in this whole entire system into a small like flick, like the Haley Strategic or some of the other systems that are out there. So you do have a lot of capabilities, a lot of options. It's a very multifunctional and adaptable piece of equipment. So it is definitely on my list of things to buy and set up on my own kit, especially for kind of more of a recon SR type of a mission set. So with that, highly recommend it. This is probably one of the best products that I've seen from TAG. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free, leave a comment. We'll help you out in any way that we can. I'll get the guy that actually owns this to leave any of his comments, so that way you kind of have his input as well. And we'll see you next time.